Hey everybody, welcome back. I know it's been a little while longer than usual. Semester's just started and things are busier than I guess I expected that they were going to be. But I'm coming at you today from my office at the University of Alberta. Prior to my office hours, I want to be able to just do a quick react to some of the scenes that happen after Kratos and Atreus have acquired Mimir's head. So Mike can't join me right now. He's been really busy, and getting our two schedules to align has been really difficult. So he sent me this game footage and I'll go ahead and react to it. Yeah, let's do it.
Soon we'll be able to translate those Muspelheim runes.
So Muspelheim is the hot region where the demon Surtur is from, or Sort, is it's anglicized too. It should be Muspelheim, but doesn't matter.
Do you remember the way to the witch's house?
Yes, the woods with the blood red
Okay,
leaves.
so they're
South of the
bringing
lake. I know just where to go.
the head to the.
Hope she
yeah,
made it
that's
back from
right.
Alfheim and can bring Mmir back. He seemed nice. Before you cut off his head.
You all gave us some great information about Mímir in the comments, so I'm looking forward to learning more about things like why he has a Scottish accent, things like that.
Stay on the path.
Right, I know.
Boy, missed
I
that.
can't believe it was Baldur that came to our house. The Aesir god. Baldur. And you fought him. And won.
Yes.
One of Odin's sons. Thor's brother. And now he's hunting us with his nephews. Why is this happening?
If we can raise the head, you can ask him.
Okay. You know, it's silly, but I secretly hope we find a giant somewhere in that mountain. I guess they really did leave Midgard, except for the serpent. And maybe the last of his kind. Are you the last of your kind too? Is that why you don't like to talk about
My kind.
I mean, your family. Before Mother. Where you came from. Mother, father.
Now is not the time for that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
We jump.
Really?
Climb on. I'll talk more about
Bad
Baldur later.
idea!
You just disintegrated, Mike. Michael. We're going to keep that bit in. You were warned not to stray from the path. Oh, we've got some wolves here. Oh, here we go. I always love a good visit with the Smiths.
Rock! Rock!
Rock.
Rock!
What? I'm on a fucking break. Don't hear me screeching at you whenever you're twiddling your short and curly.
Me crabby brother.
Leave him, boy.
No, Fab. Well, you already soiled my solitude, so you may as well join me.
You're not hungry.
Good. It's not what I was offering.
Saw your brother again.
Congratulations. And I'm sure you'll let him go and Roger my axe good and plenty again. Let's see the damage. Little canker throat wouldn't know proper weight and balance if it were dangling off his chut.
Love that rivalry.
You eating well enough?
I guess.
Good. All better.
That's all it took? Okay.
Now what the fuck else you want, huh? Times he gets so wrapped up in his work, Sentry hasn't the sense to sip or sup.
Aw, kind of.
And if he does remember, good luck getting him to cook his own meat. Guess I got all the stomach in the family. Along with the smarts.
You miss him.
What, that spit-fister? What do you know?
I just mean
Hey, do you mind? Trying to concentrate here, already on a break from my break. I need that alchemist for something I'm stewing up for you. If you're smart, you'll find him.
Brock,
Fuck else you need?
how come your brother's got half your brand?
'Cause I ain't in a working relationship with that footlicker no more. I wasn't about to let him use it without me, and he likewise. Only thing to do was split the brand 50-50 down the middle. Guess that was the last thing we saw eye to eye on. What? You want a hug? Hit the road!
Sorry. Hey, where's your beast of burden?
What do you mean? I ate her. Fat bits of her out just a while ago.
What is wrong with you?
What? Her milk ran dry.
She was your friend.
Then she'll be happy I'm so well fed. Shit bricks, boy, you got a real sentimental streak, know that? Don't get yourself confused out there. I'm getting back to it. Say, you didn't happen to run yourself afoul of a scruffy fella, about yay high, doesn't feel pain, sounds drunk but probably just slow? Hey, how'd you think I feel about it? If I'd wanted Aesir business, I'd have set up shop outside a brothel. Or a fighting pit. Or a fighting brothel.
Did he say Aesir? Like gods?
No.
All right. So we have the axe fixed.
Boy, what is the path back to the witch?
First we need to find a bow.
All right. So we're going back to Freya.
Do you remember the way back to the
Atreus
witch
is
from
in
here?
charge of the head.
That way. Behind the big statue of Thor.
I like the use of waterways in this game because
I wish we could have gone on a trip like this with Mother. She could fight, couldn't she?
Yes,
she's talking about women and fighting too.
beautifully.
It's like we know she's Freya, but she's not beneath that yet. Okay. Just trying to remember. It's been a little while since we encountered her.
So, know any good stories to pass the time?
What kind of story?
I don't know. Mother always had stories. Weren't you told me when you were a boy?
There was a man I knew of long ago. His stories were brief and purposeful.
Sounds fun. Do you remember any?
There was one that concerned a hare and a tortoise.
Like the witch's house?
Unlikely.
So what happens?
They wager on a race between them. The hare is too confident of victory and foolish, while the tortoise is steady and disciplined. The tortoise wins.
You haven't told a lot of stories, have you? Huh?
The water dropped.
And the serpent road. Right. I knew that. I know she's really powerful, but you really think the witch can bring a head back to life?
She seems competent in her craft, and we have nothing to lose.
If she can't bring it back to life, can we keep the head?
No. But you may feed it to the fish.
Okay.
That might be a reference to the Scene mythology. I can get back to that. Maybe possibly. Where are we finding him? Mike, I you here. Wow, hopefully it's thunder.
I'm not ready!
Just more readers, Oh, this is something different entirely. Mike, I need you here. I have no idea what's going on.
I did okay, yeah?
Better.
High praise.
I bet this'll lead out.
Light. Enlighten.
Hey, this does more than decipher those Muspelheim runes. It also contains the travel room.
Okay.
Should we go visit the fire realm?
He also has like an inherent knowledge of the runes. Right?
Follow me, Atreus.
On my way.
Okay, we're back here. I want to know what that creature was that we just fought. Yeah, Leosta means like enlightened. Related to the light Leos. Fun to see how they mix the Old Norse in here. And it's always Atreus who's using it. Hop on.
Turn back Aesir. Guess the gods aren't welcome here. There he is. I hope he remembers us. How's it going, Charlie? Is your witch friend here?
What is that name?
That's what he told me it was. Or what it sounded like in my head, anyway. Charm.
Enemies ahead!
Hold on.
Stay down.
Making himself useful. Oh, so that's used when he uses, yeah, both arrows. I'll be right back. Oops. See, it's been a little bit too long since I've been watching this, so my apologies. I feel like we also had Reavers, though, too. I'm not sure. This is where I need Mike.
Death to the Raven God, Lord of the Hang.
Ooh. Some kennings for Odin there. We just finished talking about Odin and Freya in my mythology class. So. Kind of fun to see how their relationship is portrayed here. Nice.
They were pretty weak.
I love how the landscape has changed as we're entering where the witch is.
Here, boy.
My students were asking me about
I know
like,
those runes. That's Vinder.
Vinder, wind.
Wind. Must be for that sand bowl down there.
was telling my students about this and how I really like how they visualize the landscape of the 9 realms in Greek mythology. Freya's sort of association with fertility and Vanir, fertility more generally, like not just reproductive, but also like agricultural fertility and abundance and as the realm that she would inhabit. Just wondering if they'll call it Folkvandr. Staves on those. So that's an interesting thing. You often see these staves appearing. Those are actually much later than the Viking Age. What we're seeing there, they're magical staves that were used in the early modern period in Iceland, and you find them in some manuscripts. But we often see them kind of getting associated with Viking runes, Viking Age runes, but they're from a much later period.
What does it say?
Falcon, hawk, and turtle dove swim aloft in oceans above. Ah, wind. Mímir. Look what it did!
Falcon shape is associated with Freya. And Loki famously borrows her falcon shape in one of the myths, too. And then there's a hawk that inhabits the world tree as well.
Father, she is here!
Turtle dove. I can't think of anything off the top of my mind.
Again.
There
I
she
knew
is.
you weren't dead.
Hello.
Oh, can you bring a head back to life?
I'm not sure I understand what... Wait. Where did you get those? The arrows. Give them to me, now.
They were a gift.
Do as she says, boy.
These arrows are dangerous. They're wicked. You find any more, you destroy them, understand? Do you understand? Say it!
I understand. If I see them, I'll destroy them.
It's all I ask. Forgive me. Please, take my arrows in their place.
Okay, so I'm just going to pause there for a second because I don't want to forget to talk about this. So Freya and Freyja, I understand, are the same person in this game. So that's been made very, very clear to me. In the mythology, as I've talked about in other videos, it's not so clear. They're often, appear as different people at feasts, but there's also indications that they may have been understood at one point in time or by certain individuals. Completely unclear, but that they may have been understood to have been the same person. But what's relevant in this case is if Freya and Frigg are considered to be the same. Frigg is the mother of Baldur, and she has made every living thing on Earth, swear in all of the realms, swear an oath that they will not harm Baldur. But she, the only thing that she doesn't ask is the mistletoe because she thinks it's too young and innocent to harm him. And Loki comes to the knowledge that that is the one thing that can harm Baldur by kind of going in disguise and asking Frigg whether she really, got everything to swear that oath or not. So her panicking right now about the mistletoe arrows really fits with kind of, the general mythology.
Please, take my arrows in their place. I have no need for them anymore. Now, what's this about a head? Do you have any idea who this is? Did you kill him?
At his request. He claimed you could revive him.
Me? Are you sure you heard him right?
Please?
Take him to the table. Mmir. It's been a long time since I've practiced the old magic. Hold him there. Let's have a look. Well, thankfully his head hasn't decayed much and his brain is still intact. Nice clean cut. Cutting off his head of all people. I sure hope you know what you're doing. Now, hold his head under the water and don't let go. I mean it. That's enough.
It worked!
Let me see him.
One-eyed.
Mmir, you there?
Yes.
Good.
Oh. Hello, Freya. Been a long time. You look well.
What I did for them. As far as I'm concerned, death suits you better.
I'd bow if I could, Your Majesty. Forgive me. Had I known the witch in the woods was Freya herself, I never would have suggested this.
Freya? The goddess Freya?
You didn't know either? Sorry.
When word gets out that Mmir is free, the wrath of Odin won't be far behind.
You are God.
Leader of the Vanir, once yes, but no longer.
You did not think it important to tell me.
Are you really going to lecture me about that?
We are leaving, boy.
But
Now.
You're welcome.
why did you do that?
We cannot trust her.
Because she's a god?
Have I taught you nothing, boy?
But she's helped us a lot.
She lied.
Some people value their privacy. Best not to judge, brother.
When I
That'd be great
require
having her
your
around.
council head, I will ask.
Fair enough. Get me to Tyr's temple in the Lake of the Nine, and I'll get you to Jotunheim as promised.
We know the temple. What's there?
Only the last living giant in Midgard. Who better to tell us the way?
The world serpent? Wait, do you know how to talk to him?
Indeed. He speaks an obscure tongue more ancient even than these mountains. None are left in Midgard who speak it. Except, of course, for me.
I'm guessing
You
it
do?
is too.
It's true. You wouldn't know it to
That's
look at
my
him, but
prediction.
Jormungandr is a sparkling conversationalist.
Okay. Well, a few things, I guess. Like, okay, so that was great. I'm glad that Freya's finally revealed. I'm still like anxiously awaiting them to reveal that Atreus is Loki. Because that's something that has been, told to me and that we've been talking about already. And so it's interesting to see how he's interacting with some of the different members of the Pantheon, based on kind of the knowledge that that's who he is, and the coming to the knowledge that the mistletoe is dangerous somehow. Maybe not directly, but we're giving a strong indication that that is something that Frigg wants to, or Frigg/Freya wants to eliminate entirely. So yeah, a few things that we got here in this one is we got a little bit about the relationship between Freya and Odin, which it's a little bit complicated and difficult based on the sources that we have. I've talked a lot about how what we have is really fragmentary, gives us only kind of a very incomplete picture of what people believed in pre-Christian times in Scandinavia. But Freya and Odin are in some ways sort of equivalent to one another. We know that Odin and Freya, he learned the art of Seidr, which is a kind of a prophetic shamanistic ritual from her. So this idea of the old magic, we know that that's something based on the mythology that he learned from her. And she represents a lot of the same things that he does. They're both associated with the dead and with Valkyries. So we have the Valkyries who ride above the battlefield and choose the chosen slain. That's what Valkyrie means, choosers of the slain, Kjosaval, and they take half to Odin's hall in Valhalla and half to Freya's hall in Folkvangr. So I don't think they call this Folkvangr, but that also makes sense because we don't have, again, it maybe doesn't fit necessarily with what they're doing in the storyline here. yeah, there were some other cool things. I mean, we had indications of the rivalry between the Aesir and the Vanir being a different sort of tribe of gods that ends up in the beginning of time, according to the mythology, being sort of defeated by the Aesir and subsumed under them. And so they're very much, so that's Freya and her twin brother Frey and their father Njord. Possibly also Heimdall, according to a few of the myths, which link him to the Vanir, but they're absolutely sort of seem to be sort of a lesser class of gods, and they are associated with prophetic rituals and magic and things like that. And we're really sort of seeing that reflected here. I caught the reference to the mother fighting, and that's something that I always get asked, because I think in pop culture, there is a tendency to portray sort of the shield maidens. If you're looking at the show, Vikings and Lagertha, and there's this kind of idea that we have this egalitarian society in the Viking age, that women fought alongside men. And as much as I would love that to be the case, that's not something that really aligns with what we know from historical reality and the sources that are considered to be more historical. We absolutely see examples of women fighting, but in sources like the mythology and the more legendary texts that are more akin to like what fantasy literature would be like for us. So things that take place in realms where there are other, kind of things that don't align with, reality, like flying dragons and magic and all kinds of other things that take place in a much more fantastical space. So that's one area that we actually do see examples of women fighting. But in fact, in the more historical sources and in the legal codes and records and things like that, it's made pretty clear that women are not fit to wield weapons. Any examples of women wielding weapons, like in the sagas, they really they don't do it well. And there are some indications that in the law codes that actually women were prohibited from bearing arms. And so I always hate to burst people's bubble on this, because I would love that to be the case too. I know with certain archaeological finds that such as the Birka find that indicate women warriors, it does seem to support the idea that this must have existed, or this may have existed. But I think the general consensus now among scholars of gender in the Viking age, across literature and history and archaeology, is that if such women existed, they would have been an exception to a pretty hard and fast rule that fighting was an occupation for free men, and that women were not part of this. So that was something I wanted to bring up, because they did talk about Faye fighting and how she was an excellent fighter. But women fighting is allowed to take place within the space of Norse mythology. So that is one place that we do encounter examples of it, but not in the more sort of historical sources. What else? Oh, and I'm just continually like I find it really funny how Balder is portrayed in this, because in the mythology, Balder is like this, he's the beloved son of Odin and Frigg, and he really doesn't have much substance in the mythology. Like he's the most beloved of all the gods. He's the most beautiful. And he exists mostly because of, or his existence mostly serves to bring about Ragnarok and the end of the world, because Balder's death, which comes about through his brother Hod shooting him with mistletoe unknowingly through Loki's kind of instigation. And that kind of is his main function in the mythology. But he's kind of like portrayed almost Christ-like. And there's a lot of Christian influence that people have talked about in the depictions of Balder. Like he's beautiful, and then he rises again after Ragnarok in this new regenerated world. And he's not portrayed as a god who fights or really does much. I mean, his main thing, like I said, is the gods have a lot of fun throwing things at him, and because nothing can hurt him. And then he dies at the hand of his brother and goes to the underworld, and they try to bring him back, but they can't. Again, Loki's fault. and this brings about the end of the world. And then he comes back again among the other kind of more peaceful gods when the world regenerates after everything is consumed by fire and Ragnarok. So all that is to say, it's really, I think it's kind of cool what they did here and their sort of take on Balder and making him, you know, certainly not the type of character that we see in the mythology, but kind of re-envisioning him here. I'll be really curious to see more about Freya and Balder, because we saw her here getting obviously very protective. Yeah, so I think that is it for this one. I'm going to try to beg Mike to come back for the next one, because I don't always know what's going on, and it's really helpful to have him walking me through what's going on and what he's doing, who he's fighting, and the places where he maybe wants me to skip over because he's jumped off a cliff. But we'll keep that one in here for this time. So thanks, everybody. I'll try to record more frequently now that the busyness of the start of the term has sort of subsided, and because I really love doing this. And yeah, so we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for following us, and make sure to like, subscribe, share if you'd like to. We're just glad to have you here, and we'll see you next time. Bye.